Hey, what's up internet? It's me, Chris, and today I'm here to talk to you about creating your own Cubase template. So the first thing I normally like to do is to set up the project with a chord track. So if we go over here, and we want to right click on this grey bar here, and you scroll down to add chord track. Cool. So once that's there, what I like to do is divide everything that's going to be in this top part. I want to separate them. So if you go over here and you can click on this arrow, it divides, and you can put a certain amount of tracks here and there, and it will keep them separate. So this is the chord track here, and then what you want to do is right click underneath and create a new MIDI track. Cool, and let's call this the chord track guide. Cool, so what's going to happen here is whatever I put in this channel, the chord track guide, the actual chord track is going to read from it. So if you click there and create chord track guide, it's going to be there ready for you. Okay, so the shortcut is F11, but I'll show you for good measure. If you go to devices and then VST Instruments, you're going to have this bar pop up here, and this is where you can store your MIDI stuff. MIDI instruments. So left click and let's go with a nice simple piano. Cool. So with these here, it creates a VST instrument folder and all this sort of thing, but I don't really use it that much, so I just kind of tuck it up here. Also, I like to grey all of these bars out because the colors will come into play later. Cool, so now what? Let's load up a piano here, and just like this. Let it fire up. Cool, okay, so then what you need to do is on this MIDI track here, you need to tell it to read from contact. So you click this bit here, and you do that. And as you can see, this is one contact 5 MIDI in, and you want that one to match the one here. It's corresponding there. Okay, now it should, there we go. So as an example, what I'll do is I'll show you. So let's just do a D minor 7, and as you play along, reading from it there. Cool, so that's the first thing. That's the first thing I normally like to do. It's really important for me to be able to see the chords and hear the chords, just so I know what's going on visually. You know, I can hear it, but it's also good to have it backed up visually. So this next bit, I tend to do with TV and film, not so much with video game, but it's a great way when you're approaching writing to image. So if you right click underneath, and what we'll do is a tempo track. Now this is great. So obviously the default setting is 120 BPM, but say if you have a scene where you know, on a film it's kind of calm, and then all of a sudden it becomes like a chase scene. What you can do is manually change the BPM here. Yep. So you just right click, and then you can hold it down, and then you click the draw icon there, and then you can change the tempo here. So it speeds up, but that's something that is really handy with film. It's a must actually for film. So it's a great way to map out the scene is actually purely through the tempo track first, and then you can go and do the music after. But that's something that I like to do when approaching the image and imagery stuff. But let's turn that off for now because I won't be using that. Cool. Next thing I like to do is if you right click again, and I like to create a folder track. And I like to call this the unused folder. Now this is really handy for keeping stuff tidy, especially when you get the bigger projects and there's a lot more music to deal with. It's great to say you know, put tracks in the folder, keep it tidy, mute it and shut it up like that, and you know, it basically plays better in the long run. Cool. Okay, so now we got this. The first thing I like to do is then create, underneath this line, is to create a couple more folder tracks. Let's just duplicate this. Cool. Now the way I like to do this is I have 5 group tracks here, folder tracks, and I like to put the instruments in these folders corresponding to which EQ frequencies they range in. So at the bottom, let's say I'm approaching let's say I'm doing a pop production here. So the first thing, we want the drums, the bass. Let's call these the mids, the melodies, and most importantly, the wild card. And this is a reference from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. As you can see, you got the drums, bass, the mids, mellows, and wild card. You know, basically like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a kind of random thing that may or may not happen that just comes out of the blue. Something that, yeah, it's just kind of a random thing for that project. And I also like to, so if you go up here and click the arrow, for some reason, I think the drums should be red. I always use the same colors. I don't know why. Bass is blue, orange, sorry. Greens for those. Melodies, a nice strong yellow, and a really mysterious purple for wildcard. Cool. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use drums from audio samples as opposed to MIDI. Right click, add track, and we'll do an audio track. Let's say we'll do count, so we got the kick, snare, let's say hats and a clap. Let's do that. It creates 4 of them. It's really important, especially from the beginning, to label everything up and keep everything tidy. I can't press that enough. Call those do the hats, and let's do claps. Stick that under there. Cool. Also, what I like to do is, let's just match the colors up to the corresponding folder. Cool. So click the little arrow to the side of it. Cool. So you see that highlighted. If you want to hold down left shift and then left click, highlights them all, and then you just want to drag it into the folder. So you see that kind of green arrow there, and now they're part of that. And also what makes things easier is you can mute them, solo them all, that sort of thing. Alright, so that's one thing. And next bit is the bass. Let's do let's do this as a MIDI. Let's call it bass 1. Let's do 2 of these. Cool. Color those up. Cool. And then we'll just drag that in. Okay. Let's open a new contact. Like that. I don't really bother with that. Yeah, it's quite a repetitive process, but it's, it just has to be done. It's best to iron out all the creases and the problems at the beginning, because later on down the line it becomes way harder to rectify. But yeah, let's just sync this up. So contact 2, and it'll be channel 1. So it's matching. Cool. Oh, slide those in. And again, let's just do. Oh, let's call them the E keys. Cool, and then a new. So I should probably explain the reason why I'm opening a new version of Contact per instrument is that it actually gives it way more freedom later down the line. So for example, you'll be able to EQ individual instruments as opposed to having several instruments under one version of Kontakt. And also I should mention that Kontakt, the actual Kontakt player, is very easy on the RAM, so it won't actually slow the computer down too much. Basically, it's worth doing in the long run. I just want to make that point. Cool, let's load that one up. And then sync it up. So 3 there. It always starts with a 1. Cool. Melodies. Let's call that lead 1. Let's make it yellow matching. Put that in. New version of Kontakt. Let's do some. It really doesn't matter. Let's just do that. Cool. Make sure it's all lined up correctly. So 4 and then 1. Wildcard, you know, whatever. So this is what we have so far. Cool. So that's pretty much it. There's not too much to it. I'll show you how to create the actual template, which is the easy bit. So you've got everything kind of all tidy, ready to go. If you just go to File, Save as Template here. Just call it, let's call it YouTube. Okay. Now what will happen is if I close, don't save anything, File, New Project, and then if you move from Recent to More, it will have it there saved. And load that up. And all the instruments that I had earlier are all ready there to go. And that is pretty much it. Very easy, very useful. So thanks anyway for watching the video. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please leave me a comment in the box below and I'll get back to you. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you at the same time next week.